What's going on, people? It's your man, the YB, back once again. Big shout out to my doggy Martin Skirsis for coming through and boosting up the coin. So, folks, Fabio Wardley, El Sparkles, Easter Island. But now, listen, let's not start there, man. I could come on here and be like, yeah, we won. Man, that was dead. And actually, I got cucked on the gambling. I had 40 quid on Wardley for the KO. I took it off and saved 30 quid. So I lost a tenner in the end on that. Bottled it. I thought there's no way. Sorry. There was no way. I don't know what Huni was doing. His team was getting too gas, man. Wardley won 1 or 2 rounds. That's what the judges had as well. One judge had 2 rounds and 2 judges had 1 round. He didn't win no rounds. Yeah? Now, Huni's corner starts saying, yeah, you got him, son. Lay it all over him now. I'm thinking, Huni can't punch like that. He's never gonna be a puncher like that. Yeah? He reminded me a bit of, he looks pretty good. He like some kind of a mix between Caballero and Usyk. He was hopping in, hopping out. Just keep it consistent. When you've got a chin like that, unless your name is Mohamed Imad Golovkin and you know you can take a rattle, we know his chin's no good. He got rocked in the first round and maybe the third round of this fight. Not rocked, but he was a bit sketchy. Lorena had him on stilts. Yeah, in sparring has been sparkled. What is his team getting gassed for? You were the big underdog, late notice, and I get it. Why be your hypocritical? You tell fighters to go for it. I ain't gonna lie. I thought Wardley was gonna get stopped. I did think he was gonna get stopped, but at the end of the day, yeah, there's some. Your chin's no good, man. Your chin's no good like that. You can't take a shot, so you can't be. He comes in at the end. All night he's been like this, Huni. For the first time, really, I've seen him do that. Hands are up. He's got a head movement there. Look really good. And then he comes in the last bit, too greedy, switches off, comes looping in like this, sticks his big beak, which is already like 2-factor. It's like out here anyway. He comes in, and then Wardley looks at the floor. As I said in my build-up, I said how he gets knocked out is. I told you, Wardley's going to look at the floor and bowl his right hand over. And what happens? He looked at the floor and bowled his right hand over. Let's break down. Let's do the frame by frame of the sparking moment. El Sparkleton. Let's see if we can. Where is El Sparkleton, man? Come on, where is it? Is this El Sparkleton? I think we've got El Sparkleton right now for you, man. Here we go. We're doing the frame by frame. Yeah, crazy. Diabolical situation right here from Easter Island. So Huni, look, that's what I'm saying. If you watch the fight, yeah, Huni was never had his hands down like that, like this. Yeah? Huni should have seen. That's another thing we need to cover in a second, yeah? This whole hands down rubbish is useless. Wardley, hands down, like AJ was against Dubois, eating every shot in the book. No defense, no inside fighting, just clinching and getting popped right in his chops. Ben Davison's leaky deaky style, yeah, it's over. It's over anyway. Easter Island. For the first time in the fight, his trainers had blow smoke up his arse, and he was having a lot of success. Wardley looked goosed for about round 2. He was hanging. He was finished. He had a spurt in round 1, a spurt in round 3, and certainly by round 4, he was finished. He was, and fair play to him for not giving up, because a lot of man, not a new age man, like Adelaide would have just stood there and got punched up or shit himself. So he didn't do that, and clearly he found a way to win, but I'm not impressed with this Ben Davison thing, man. No defense. There's no defense coming from these guys. You can say Atama's got some defense. Listen, people, I've done the frame by frame on him as well. Atama barely had defense against a 50-year-old rugby player. Yeah, the rugby player was about 4 inches out multiple times on his right hook. Leaky deaky, man. There's no catching with a backhand from Wardley at all. No catching. This is the shot here. So Huni comes jumping in with his hands down for the first time in the fight. Jumping in, goes to land the right hand. Wardley looks at the floor, and Johnny, bosh, right on the end of his beak. That big old beak, man. That big old beak. He's got a big old. I told you about it. We've talked about the physics already, folks. Don't let me get this dude's beak up again. His beak's too big to be fighting like this, man. His beak's too big. Right on the end of his beak. Johnny, bosh, and he's out. He's out like a light, man, in the day, and I did predict that. Yeah, that is what we did predict here. All them other corny channels. How Teddy Atlas doing right now? Busted. Teddy Atlas ain't doing nothing, man. He washed up. What would he know? He don't know about the physics of the chops. That's what he don't know. When was the last time Teddy Atlas studied PhD chops physics? He's never done it, so he wouldn't know what was going to happen. I told you, I called this shot. Look at the floor. Bosh. And Easter Island Sparkletond. That's what he's done right now. Yeah, and I'm pissed off. I like Huni. He's very humble. He probably should have kicked up a fuss. I thought the count was, given this is a fight for an interim world championship, yeah. These new age referees, Huni gets to his feet. And DAZN were doing a madness as well, if you noticed that. DAZN, yeah, Huni's just been clipped. Like, all the fans want to see is the referee count. Is the referee count right at that point? All fans are in. When someone gets knocked down, all fans want to see is actually what's going on in the ring. DAZN start cutting to Frank Warren immediately. I'm talking like, you don't even get to see the count. On the live feed, you do not get to see the count. And then all of a sudden, next thing, DAZN switches back to the ring, and Huni's being waved off. And I thought, that's odd. So I have to admit here, Huni hasn't complained. Eddie Hearn implied something, but if I was Team Huni, I get it, they're trying to be respectful and whatnot. Listen, I was backing Wardley, but we ain't doing that. I'm not shilling my base. I'm not shilling my tribe. I do think he should have been given the opportunity, yeah, to get back to his feet and see how he's doing for an interim world championship. End of the day, yeah. If there's ever a time, it's not like, yeah, Huni got up and he was skating around the place like an ice rink. He got up and he looked okay. Yeah. Now it is fair to say that Huni he didn't have the best body language, in as much as, like, I mean, I don't know what a lot of these I'm not sure whether, of course, he's probably dazed, he's probably not thinking logically. But if I was a trainer, I'd get people. I've seen cats do this before, where in training they spin you around in circles, you drop to the mat, and then get up. But I'd be doing that, and you got to be showing the right signs, i.e., the minute I got up here, I'm putting my hands on my head, showing the referee I want to come back in there. Huni kind of got up, he's looking around, his hands are by his waist, and it's like, well, you know what I'm saying? You got to get up and be bang on. We know the process for a fight to restart after a knockdown, and you've got to be looking at the referee and have your hands on your head. That's the most important part. And that's something Fury does quite well, actually. He does get up and he'll knock his hands on his head if he wants some more. Huni kind of inexperienced or whatever, and it cost him because he didn't need. That's what I don't know what his team were doing. Well, I do know what they were doing. His team, like me, like we all thought. I thought Wardley was getting stopped, so they were sem-along. They were starting to beat their meat off, thinking they were getting a stoppage because Huni can't punch, so they probably got excited, thinking, "Oh, we can punch now." But he won every. Listen, man, all he had to do was just keep plugging along, and he'd have won the next 3 rounds the way it was looking. All he needed to do was keep. In fact, he could have just switched off and gone into Devin Haney mode. Seriously, he could have lost them last how many rounds? 10, 11, 12. He could have lost them last 3 rounds and he still would have won easily. Yeah, that's what he should have done. Obviously, hindsight's great, but he started taking more risk. Look at this here. Look, he comes bobbing in, chops in the air. Look at the chop. Look at the Easter Island. That right there, people. Come on, man. Look at that. You see that visual there? If that ain't Easter Island, let me see if I've got the clip here. Bosh. If that ain't Easter Island, I don't know what is. Literally. He's summoning his great-great-granddaddy there. Easter Island chop. Sit. And Wardley looks at the floor. You know, he kind of... It's like an overhand. He swings it, bowls it over, and then it just literally dips right down. Yeah, it tilts down at the last moment. Right on his beak. And if his beak was an inch or two shorter, it probably wouldn't hit him, but it gets right on the end of his beak. I did say that. I said, listen, he's going to get clipped. I said, listen, he ain't going to get clipped here. He ain't going to get clipped here. He ain't going to get clipped here. I said, he can get clipped right on the end of his beak. Who told you that? Did Teddy Atlas tell you that? He didn't tell you that. He had 1,500 on this dude here. Justis Huni. Yeah? He had 1,500. Big Teddy Atlas had 1,500 on Justis Huni. Okay? How'd it work out for him? Oh, he lost and the YB won. That's what happened here. Yeah, for sure. Oh, YB, what are you talking about? You didn't win. Listen, man, we up. End of the day, folks. We are up. See this one here? Look. Look at this one here. Look. Fabio Wardley by knockout exactly. 5-1. Only a stinking fiver, but still. Yeah, end of the day, folks. End of the day. I predicted it. I said there's no TKO here. It's a cold, clean bosh. But nah, it wasn't, honestly. I ended up breaking even because I put a tenner on early on in the fight. After about 3 rounds, I put a tenner on Huni to win on points at like 9-1 or something, or 7, something like that, 7-1. So I thought I'll hedge there, and obviously we got cucked. So it's like the ultimate cuckage, man. I took my big bet off, my 40 quid on Wardley for the KO, and put Huni on points, and it just I end up losing again somehow. It's a big scam. It's a big scam. Big scam. I know what would have happened, yeah. If I'd have kept all my bet on Wardley KO, he would have got boxed up. That's what would have happened. He wouldn't have landed a glove for the full 12 and I'd lost it all. So that's what it's one of them ones, man. It's one of them ones. Another reason I took the bet off was because I didn't like Wardley. I was sucking Wardley off here before the fight, saying, yeah, Wardley's too hungry and he's fighting at his own town. He come out. Yeah, he had a little bit in round 1. Yeah, he had a little bit in round 3, but he looked knackered and he didn't have that snare. And the commentators saw it as well. Now, it's possible Wardley's never been in there with a clean operator like this. And when you've got someone slipping and sliding and countering with quicker hands and better feet, you kind of get bamboozled and you don't want to throw your hands because you feel like every time you throw them, he's doing some magical shit on your ass. So it's probably a combination of two, because who's Wardley really beat? Adelele was a big stiff idiot in there. Didn't do nothing. Adelele didn't do nothing against TKV, right? A guy who's got no power and who only got a jab. So Adelele's overrated. Who else we got? Clark. Fraser Softbones. What's he done? Fraser Clark's he's a big stiff idiot as well. He's straight up and down. His feet aren't... He can move in and out well, but he hasn't got... This cat here, Huni, was cutting a lot of angles. The head movement... Fraser Clark don't have head movement like Huni. He don't have the power. Relative power. Sorry, not power, but the power shots. Well, Clark's quite good with it with his jab and that, but that's about it. Huni had it. Huni was putting double left hook on the end, and that reminds me of Fabio Wardley's leaky defense, man. He was jabbing... He was blocking the jab with his face all night. That's what he was doing. Blocking the jab with his face. There was very little parrying from Wardley's low right hand. No inside fighting, just pure clinch gate. That's the only defense these Ben Davison fighters have, is clinch gate. I've got to say this. There's no defense. There's no inside fighting either. No inside fighting, no defense, just clinch and back up with your chin in the air. Yeah? I didn't see nothing defensively from Wardley, really. He was moving his head a little bit, but too much. You'd rarely see Wardley counter punch off of head movement. It was all kind of like bend at the waist, big dramatic movements, which would maybe sometimes get him out of the way. But at this level, and Wardley's come out after the fight saying, woo, I need to make sure I don't want to take more damage anymore. So listen, bro, I swear down to you right now. In this 10-round fight, I did not see Wardley put his hands on his head once. Yeah, this thing's... Forget about it. This low hand rubbish, forget about it. Even Usyk, when he's fighting heavyweights now, his hair, forget about it. Unless you're Floyd, and even Floyd knew when. Floyd, very rarely in a 12-round fight would Floyd never put his hands on his head. There'd always be points he changes it up. This low lead, this not even low lead hand, both hands are like here. This low rubbish, who does that well? Fury got knocked out by Usyk, who can't punch. Yeah, this leaky deaky, I'm Mr. Magical when you're not. It's overrated, seriously. Forget about it, it's over, it's done with. Huni actually comes in, he tightens his guard up, and he looked pretty good. Again, apart from that, he got greedy, and fair play to Wardley. I have to give him credit. Whilst his performance sucked, and this really did show his level, I have to give him credit for not giving up. Because a lot of fighters in that kind of fight, where he's all over you, he's on your ass, yeah. A lot of new age man would just go into their shell and think, let me just not get knocked out. Wardley actually in the 10th round, he did come out and he started throwing his hands. When he was throwing his hands, well, inevitably, when he was throwing his hands, he was more dangerous than when he wasn't. When he wasn't throwing his hands, he was a heavy bag. No inside game. Huni isn't known as a great inside fighter. In fact, when you see him in there with Lorena's pushing him back. From round 1, early in the fight, Wardley's constantly going back. Why? I believe he doesn't have no defense. He doesn't have no inside game. When you don't have no defense or inside game, when someone's coming at you, all you can do is move back. And that's not... I guess, did Wilder do that a lot? Wilder was quite gangly, and I think Wardley was a taller heavyweight than Wardley, so it kind of made... I'm trying to think. Wilder would always be going back? I don't know, but I guess Wardley's good at mid-range. He's no good at short range. He's no good at long range. It's mid-range. He needs to get you on the end of that right hand. I just would have liked... If you can have that low lead hand, I'd like to have seen some James Toniness about it, man. Some in there just digging him. But he didn't have nothing. It's like, what's Ben teaching these guys? I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know what Ben Davison height. What's he teaching these men? I think he's probably teaching them how to land a lucky shot. That's how it looks to me. AJ versus Mbonga, lucky shot. This fight, lucky shot. It's like they're banking it all on, oh, I'll land a lucky shot. But at some point, I mean, imagine what Jarrell Miller can take a shot. Imagine, and this Jarrell Miller went, his feet are slower to be fair, but Jarrell Miller would have rolled Wardley like you've never seen before, in my opinion. He'd have been right on him, even more pressure, even more output, and I think he probably would have stopped Wardley tonight. Unless Wardley had clipped him, but I doubt it. Miller's hunched over and his head's down. I think it'd been very, very... Even Dubois was whacking him all night, and that was an out-of-shape Jarrell Miller, and whacking him all night and couldn't put him out. He stopped him eventually because of cardio issues, but... Do you know what I mean? I think he'd have walked through him. And honestly, I think Caballero walks through Wardley. Miller... even I can see Usyk. Based on that performance from Huni, I think Usyk probably stops Wardley. He's too slow as well. His hands are too slow. I think he'd be getting hit all night. Any real top boxer, Dubois, will just punch through him. It stopped, honestly. It's an accident waiting to happen. I think he's got a good chin. I give him credit for that. Good heart as well. He did try in round 3, and I think he blew his load. He has a lot of... When you're fighting low-level opposition, you can just storm the beach of Normandy early, and it's going to end up in an early knockout. When you get these high-level dudes, and Huni was catching most of the shots and or slipping them, he's putting a lot of uneducated effort out. Yeah, a lot of shots that have just got everything in, and the payback is nothing or very little at all. As you get better in the game, you're going to have to... Even Wilder wouldn't go wild until he saw his opponent, okay, he's ready to go. Wilder would keep it simple. Once he's stung you with a right hand and he sees your proper stung, then he's on you. Wardley will kind of land one shot, not even see the guy going and have a go kind of thing, which is not bad, but I think that round 1 and round 3 where he had a little bit of success, that finished the rest of his fight. He'd lost that fight on points. End of the day. He'd lost the fight on points. I think he was goosed. His jab to the body looked knackered the whole fight through. I don't know what his conditioning's doing. His jab to the body looked... All of his shots really until the end weren't... That's the only shot I saw him land, which is credit to him. Fair play, he found the shot, but I didn't see nothing consistently for 10 rounds to not have... Even the flurries in round 1 and 3, I can't say he had any great success. I wouldn't write home about it. So to have 10 rounds with someone, 30 minutes, and you've only landed one shot, it doesn't bode well. And that one shot, again, Huni's not got a great chin, we know that. And still, he was up, to be fair. So someone with a better chin, and less cabal rigging by Frank Warren, allegedly, that count was a scam. DAZN knew what they was doing. They cut the camera. That was a scam. He should have been allowed to carry on. I'm not saying he would have made it. I probably would have bet on him still, though. If they'd let that fight carry on, and they knew that, Frank Warren knew we can't let this fight carry on, because what was Wardley going to do? Come storming in and gas himself out, most likely? Huni looked okay to me. So, Wardley lands the perfect shot right on the end of his big beak on a guy who's chinny, and he barely knocked him out. That's the truth. Honestly, if that had been another A-side in there, let's say he caught Dubois like that, and Dubois goes down and gets up like that, or let's say Wardley caught Fury like that, there's no way the ref's waving that off, ever. Never. The fight's carrying on. So he got very lucky, even with a knockdown. He'd needed about 5 more knockdowns in the next 2 rounds. Could he have done it? I mean, if Wardley's a good finisher, he'll have a go, but I do feel like we've kind of been robbed of it, to be fair. I feel like we've been robbed of what could have happened. I don't like this ref jumping in rubbish. If a man's on his feet, yeah, unless he tells you otherwise, it should be assumed the fight continues. If he's on his feet and he's not falling around everywhere, and to be fair, I mean, I'm not even necessarily saying that. If he wants it, Chris Eubank got up against Liam Smith and he wanted some more. So I'm not necessarily saying, even if he got up and was on skates, if he wants some more, give him some more. End of the day, that's his right as a sovereign citizen. Yeah, those are his sovereign rights, endowed to him by... What's the cat's name again? What's that cat's name? What's that god of war? Odin. Odin endowed us all, yeah? The right to travel. And hence, Huni was up, man, let him fight on. Because Wardley was down. Fair enough, yeah. Let's say Wardley had won 8-2 after 10 rounds. And then Wardley clips him. And it's like, well, whatever. There's no point, right? But in this kind of fight where Huni's winning the rounds and looking comfortable, and Wardley's stinking the place out, let it carry on. I feel like it was a bit of an A-side robbery there. Huni's not complaining. But yeah, poor, end of the day. I backed Wardley, but I'd never do it again, to be honest. I think as well, as these fighters start making more money, Wardley probably made $1 million plus here, maybe more. when these guys started making money, I did see he's thinking more now, but not in a good way. He's not thinking and doing things more skillfully. He never had a whole bunch of skill anyway. His edge was, you're getting it. You're proper getting it. You're getting it, yeah? So when a dude who don't have much skills loses his edge, you're getting it, and starts kind of just sitting back and stinky in, not throwing his hands. And it's easy for me to say. I wasn't in there with Huni. I do empathise with him when someone's all over you, but and he found the shot. End of the day, he did find the shot, so we can't complain too much. But he's found his level now with Ben Davison or with anyone at this point. I think Wardley's is. I don't think you can say he's improving. This is the first time he's fought. I'd call Huni a world level boxer. The first time he fought a genuine top 10. Fraser Clark not top 10. This is the first time he fought a genuine top 10 boxer, and he lost every round arguably, and he got lucky with a punch. Now there is some, what's the word? Frank Warren's drawn some parallels between Wilder, I think. I want to check because I think Wilder's fighting Duhalpas. I think he was fighting some cat called Duhalpas, and he was boxing him up. A few times Wilder, I believe, has been boxed up and was losing on points. Let's have a quick check here. I think Ortiz was ahead on the cards, but I want to check this for the record. Okay, so he fought Luis Ortiz. Yeah. So in the Luis Ortiz fight, up to 7 rounds, he was down he was losing by 4 rounds. That's crazy. So it was like 2-5 or after 6 rounds, sorry, he was losing. After 6 rounds, he was losing. Couldn't be 4-2. It must be like, I don't know, something like that. He was getting smoked, basically. In the Luis Ortiz fight, every judge had him down by 2 rounds after 6. Yeah? There's one example of it. And that's in the Ortiz rematch. The Ortiz first fight, he was up by 1 round. Gerald Washington, he was basically drawing with Gerald Washington after 4. Chris Arreola, he boxed up apparently. Spilka, he boxed up apparently. The Alpus, he won every round. Where did I get that from? Where's his narrative come from that Wilder had to come from behind? The Mains Deverne, he dominated him. Maybe it's just Ortiz then. I can't really find a bunch of examples of it. But the point is, I think Wilder was quicker as well. Wardley's right hand. Wilder at his best, yeah. He knows how to right down the pipe. Right down there. Wardley, his right hand's the same every time. He's like, argh! And we said before the fight that when you're fighting a proper boxer, which I didn't necessarily think Huni was at the time, you're not really going to land them wide shots. Huni saw them coming miles off, and that's the truth. You got to shorten it up. Yeah, if you've stunned someone with a short shot, then you can go a bit wild if you must. But this whole bowling things over, and it seems to be the Ben Davison thing. AJ used to have a lovely, look how AJ clipped Charles Martin. He used to have a lovely down the pipe, right on the end of your beak. Even when AJ, yeah, he lost his ferocity, but when AJ was with Derek James fighting that muffin top, Martin Franklin or something like that, Franklin something, like snappy. And all these Ben Davison fighters, the town was the same. Look at the floor, bowl his hand over. AJ against Mbonga, look at the floor, bowl your hand over. Wardley, he's like Ben Davison's got this weird thing. He thinks I think Ben Davison's trying to be something that doesn't exist. He's trying to be like, I've solved the Matrix puzzle and I've found a hack to the game. That's how he's treating this shot. He's treating the look at the floor and bowl your right hand over like it's a magical shot. But someone with good boxing basics, you saw it tonight. Okay, he landed it in the end, but that was on Huni. The Huni got sloppy. He was throwing that same rubbish all night, to be fair. Wardley was, and it was easy. Huni got semi-long. He got semi-long and started feeling himself, and he got no chops. And when you're the B-side here, and you're up 10 rounds to 2 or something like that, it would have ended about 10 rounds to 2. You can't be taking chances like that. Now, if the fight's close, for example, let's say Huni after 10 it's like 5-5 or 6-4 to Huni, and his team then say, listen bro, we're the B-side, we need to put something on here. That'd make sense. But when you've won, there's no way they could have robbed him. And the scorecard showed that. There's no way they could have robbed. That would have been unbelievable. That would have been proper unbelievable if they'd have robbed him. So you've got to sit back and play the game a little bit, because your man ain't got no chops. He ain't. If his chops was solid, yeah, let's say it's someone like, I don't know, pick someone who's got a solid chop so you know you can take a shot, and it's like, yeah, roll the dice a little bit and like be a bit take a bit more risk, but you didn't need to, man. There's nothing to say necessarily that after there was two or three more rounds left, and I thought from about round 5 that Wardley was going to get stopped. If Huni had to just keep chugging along, I think Wardley's got a great chin and good heart. I'm not saying he would have got stopped, but he looked weird. He looked weathered early on. And that is a classic trend with Ben Davison fighters. Italmo, we haven't seen him fight past 2 rounds. If we ever do, I've seen him puffing after 2 rounds, man. That's the truth. Who else you got? Wardley goosed after 2 rounds. What's that other dude? Huni? No, Wardley. What was it? This bitch. Wardley, Italmo, Johnston, AJ. How's his cardio been? He looked like a fish out of water in there with Dubois, man. Fish out of water early on. Just galloping in with his chops in the air and his hands by his waist. His hands, get rid of it now, honestly. It's no good. You can't be in a heavyweight boxing fight and not have your hands up once. Yeah? Wardley's getting away with it because he's fighting people who can't punch. Huni can't really punch. Fraser Softbones can't punch. Adelaide's no good. You're going to get punished. And that's why he's coming out of the fight now saying, oh, I don't really like getting hit in my head. Well, put your hands up, man. That's not foolproof. But look at Huni. Huni didn't just have his hands up, but still, that gives you a base to do something from. You can't have your hands here and be blocking jabs with your face. It's crazy. It's annoying as well. So yeah, Huni for me deserved to win. Look at this guy, look, just clinging on. Wardley, all he had on the inside was to cling on. If you're going to have that low hands, I want to see you in there rocking and rolling, old school, man. That's what I want to see. Like Holyfield, you've seen Holyfield tussling on the inside. They're like this, sucking in there, yeah? Like that, suck right in and tussle. Wardley's not doing that. He's got low hands, not doing nothing with it. It's annoying. Anyway, let me just run through my notes before I get out of here. I did write quite a few notes somewhere. There was quite a few leaked notes here. Okay, yeah. I put here, Wardley, hands down, even on the back foot. When he's backing up to the ropes, he backs up like... You didn't see him, yeah? You didn't ever see him like that backing up. Have different looks make it... Having a low lead hand here, it can add to your jab. Your jab tends to be faster, and it's a new angle. It's a quite hard angle to read a jab from your waist. At the same time, different looks are good, because an experienced fighter over rounds, if your jab's coming from the same angle every time, you download information. So different looks, something Floyd would do, different looks means your opponent's constantly it's confusing them. Wardley had the same look all night. No, he wasn't parrying the jab ever with his right hand. He's skipping, pulling backwards was his only defence. Yep, that sounds about right. No inside game, no ferocity, really. I think he blew his load, to be fair, in round 1 or 3. But how can you have 2 little flurries and be goosed? I think he puts too much into them. And yeah, there's too much. Just, left and right kind of thing. Gassed after a few rounds, blocking shots with his face. No diddy. Huni gets sloppy after trainer tells him to push forward. Comes in with his hands down, chin forward for the first time. Whoa, that's no good. Don't do that to me. Fabio can't box, but he's like Wilder. I wrote here. These are my live reactions. Fabio can't box, but he's like Wilder. A B-level Wilder, I'd say. To be fair, though, what top fighters did Wilder starch? Old T, you'd have to go with. But yeah, for me, Fabio, yeah. Listen, I'm not hating on the guy, but he's limited, I think it's fair to say. First round, Wardley blew his load. Nothing on his jab. Nothing on his jab at all, man. He was pushing his shots out. Huni saw them all coming. Clinching. Okay, that's the other thing as well. I do feel sorry for Huni. Because he had 4 or 5 weeks notice. So he should have been the one knackered. Wardley was goosed, man. He wasn't really doing much either to be so goosed. So I'd love to see what Ben Davison's doing for conditioning. Normally fighters with low hands, that's less tiring. Your shoulders burning out when you got your hands up is one of the key things that just deads you off. So I don't know what these guys are doing for conditioning. Wardley's got his hands down here all night, which is basically the most relaxed you can be. How were his shots dead after 1 round or 2, a couple of rounds? Knackered. Is it the backpedaling? I don't think they I didn't expect. I thought Huni, after seeing the Lorena fight, I thought Huni would be the one backpedaling. If you're not used to, I assume in sparring, Wardley's probably the one leaning all over his opponents, and he's the one getting them to the ropes and teeing off. That's what I'd assume. When you're a front foot fighter and you suddenly find yourself pulling backwards all the time, it's knackering. You're in prey mode. When you're used to being in predator mode, that's a whole different, in my opinion, different energy system. Yeah? When you spent your whole training camp laying it on people and being the A side and whooping people up, and it's a different type of conditioning when you're in there being hunted and you're doing things you're not used to. How many of you think Wardley's used to going backwards and being stalked and on the ropes and getting clattered? I wouldn't have thought so. I can't think of a fight where that's been the case. He was laying it on Fraser Softbones Clark, laying it on Adelaide. All them fights took place in the middle of the ring, or Wardley was the one wading in. This is the first time he's been on the back foot, and that probably is what made the difference. But he's got... I don't know what to tell you, to be fair. I don't know what to tell you about his level. I don't have him beaten. I don't think he'd beat someone like Andy Ruiz, to be fair. Or Miller. Anyone who's durable and can put it on him. I don't think his footwork's that good. Even when you think about AJ versus Ruiz too, I don't think Wardley has that kind of footwork. He wouldn't be able to just outbox. His feet are too slow and he's knackered. He's goosed. El Goosoed. But yeah, fair play to Wardley. He didn't give up. That's his saving grace. He didn't give up. He did come out in the 10th round and let his hands go a bit. But he's got a lot of... I'm not even sure it's a lot of work to do. He'll fight for a world title. He'll make millions. So he's essentially accomplished what he needs to now. Could he catch Dubois? Look at the floor. I wouldn't be betting on it. I think Dubois walks through him. I don't think Wardley would get past a jab, to be fair. I think Dubois could knock him out of a jab. The way he's just too open to it. He don't catch it. He was taking Huni's jabs all night. I think Dubois could knock him out, spark with a jab. That's how it could go, or bust him up. You know how, what's his name? How Joe Joyce bust up Dubois' eye. That's how it could go for Wardley against Dubois at the very least. That's if Dubois kind of saves him from the right hand. If Dubois puts the right hand in, it could be Johnny Bosch for him. Who else are you going to beat? Caballero stops him in 6 rounds. Seriously, Caballero stops him in 6 rounds. Zhang hit him with his... Zhang's much quicker, much more accurate. And Zhang hit him with his best shot and it bounced off Caballero and he got back up. Wardley, he gets stopped by Caballero in 6 rounds. That's the truth, honestly. It's 6 rounds, quick. It might be 4 rounds, because Huni ain't even on him like that. It might be 4 rounds with Caballero. Parker, again, too quick. Parker possibly stops Wardley as well, depending on how good his chin is. He's too leaky deaky. Look at the guard here. Look at the guard here, man. There's leaky deaky. Let's see what happens. Oh, you saw the fight anyway. I can't bother to do the frames. Moody defense. No defense, man. I don't know what Bren Davison's doing with these guys, man. Look at this. Like this. He sticks his beak right out, and I think his idea is I'll stick my beak out and then I'll pull back. But he was getting caught every time. And when you're tired as well, moving your whole core backwards quickly, it's hard to do, and you just end up eating the shot with your face right in there. Let's have a look if he gets caught here. There's the stab to the body. Alright, anyway, people, let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, subscribe, like off the bell, 100%. There's no doubt about this. Some people stop it. Yep, bosh.